So we know the Canadian liberals are ridiculous, right? But Americans are even step higher. And speaking about Democrats, Mark Carney has a close ties with Democratic Party in the U.S., right? So not just Giselle Maxwell or whatever her name is, the Epstein girl, but the Democrats, which kind of feel like it's kind of a common denominator of Democrats, that they all kind of hang tight with Epstein, or used to, obviously, right?
Text message story is still a one-day story, but not if you're CNN or MSNBC. Of course, to them, this whole thing is worse than January the 6th, but that's okay. They haven't won a news cycle since Joe Biden was president, so I don't fault them for trying. But why are they calling for Pete Hegseth's head right now? They want Donald Trump to fire Pete Hegseth because they are awful people, which I will show you in detail. And that's where we start tonight.
Let's watch it.
Fire Pete Hegseth, not Michael Waltz, not the person who added Jeffrey Goldberg to the group chat in the first place, which makes no sense. The media are blaming it all on Pete Hegseth, which makes perfect sense because they didn't want him to be defense secretary in the first place. So they are trying to get him out of office.
They didn't
right
want
now,
anyone
even though
President Trump nominated.
Had nothing to do with Jeffrey Goldberg being on that group chat. But this is what it's been like on the other networks all week long.
Pete Hegseth, which everybody knows he's unqualified to be the defense secretary, is responsible here. Donald Trump should fire.
I love how Democrats are talking about someone being unqualified to do something. But yay, let's go DEI, let's hire everyone based on sexual orientation and color of the skin and if they're left-handed or right-handed and all of that bullshit. Who cares about qualification? But now they're gonna call someone unqualified.
Pete Hegseth.
The Secretary of Defense should be fired immediately if he's not man enough to own up to his mistakes and resign in disgrace.
You have called for Secretary Hegseth.
Man, that's like 20 years ago when politicians actually resigned when they did some mistake. And like, how many Democrats resigned because they made a mistake? Like, it's ridiculous. Really, 20 years ago, you just heard the rumors and the guy resigned. Now it's like, I'm gonna hold my job. Why? I don't care about anyone. I just care about myself. Like, why would I resign? I have this nice salary, power. Like, why would I resign? Because you guys don't like me? Well, too bad, right? So, like, don't tell me that he's the first guy who didn't resign because he made a mistake. And I don't know if it was Hexa who made a mistake, right?
To resign, but do you believe he will?
I don't think so, but I think he should, out of a sense of duty and loyalty to the country.
Oh, the outrage. Suddenly,
he should resign because of the country. So it's okay that the US had a president who half of the time didn't know where he is, wasn't able to fulfill his duty, did not resign. It's okay that the US had a vice president who saw all of this and didn't do anything about it. But now, this guy needs to resign.
the left cares about things going to plan.
Oh, here we go.
Why don't we rewind the clock to August of 2021?
Afghanistan, do you remember?
Afghanistan withdrawal. Joe Biden, Mark Milley, Lloyd Austin get 13 Americans killed. Here they are.
Did they resign? I don't think so.
Take a look, Democrats. 13 Americans were killed and almost 200 other people were killed when a suicide bomber drove into a crowd of people at Kabul airport and nobody got fired. In response to that, Joe Biden, Mark Milley, Lloyd Austin ordered a drone strike that missed its target. It ended up hitting a private home in Afghanistan, killing 10 innocent people, including 7 children, the youngest a 4-year-old child. These were innocent people, and nobody was fired. But it gets better. Not only was nobody fired, No one was demoted, no one was reassigned, and Mark Milley called the strike that killed an innocent family with 7 children a righteous strike.
What the fuck?
Were there others killed? Yes, there are others killed. Who they are, we don't know. We'll try to sort through all that. But we believe that the procedures at this point, I don't want to influence the outcome of an investigation, but at this point we think that the procedures were correctly followed and it was a righteous strike.
Okay, where
imagine
was
that?
anyone
A
calling
righteous
him
strike
to
and nobody
get fired?
was fired. Fast forward to February 2023, the same people, Joe Biden, Mark Milley, Lloyd Austin, let a Chinese spy balloon fly over the continental United States from Alaska to South Carolina, including over at least 11 U.S. military bases, before it was finally shot down over the Atlantic Ocean. The Pentagon officially characterizing that spy balloon as a surveillance balloon from China, and nobody was fired. Fast forward now, 1 year later, to February 2024, and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, our masked avenger, afraid of his own shadow. Lloyd, maybe if you need all of that gear and all of that apparatus, you're not the right guy to lead our troops into battle. Remember that famous painting of Washington crossing the Delaware? Imagine Lloyd Austin crossing the Delaware wearing all of that.
You know what's crazy to me? COVID. What happened during COVID? It escaped from the laboratory, right? Now it's finally official. Everything we thought is actually true. It was from the lab. Did anyone get charged? Oh wait, amnesty, right? Biden, his whole family. So maybe that's why he did it. Well, that's one thing we know about, right? Obviously. But yeah, like COVID, did anyone get charged for that? How it cost so many people a year, 2 years of their life? And also vaccination, and how many people died because of fucking COVID that it escaped from the lab? Somehow no one got charged for this or fired or whatever, right? Well, no, people got fired, but people who said that it was from the lab, people who refused to take a vaccine, those people got fired, those innocent people.
February of last year, Lloyd Austin checked himself into the hospital with cancer. He didn't tell anyone. He didn't tell the president. He didn't tell Congress. He didn't even tell his staff. Meaning, with a war raging in Ukraine and a war raging in Gaza, no one knew where our defense secretary was for over a week, and nobody was fired. And
That's
even today,
ridiculous,
Democrats don't like being asked about any of this because they know that they sound completely ridiculous.
Did you call for Lloyd Austin's resignation? Not only did we lose 13 service members, we left $70 billion worth of equipment that fell into the hands of the Taliban.
That's
a couple of years later, he was out of pocket for
understand
2 weeks and didn't tell the White House. Did you ask for him to resign at this point? Are you actually asking for Hegseth and Waltz to resign when you didn't ask for Lloyd Austin?
There is nothing that Lloyd Austin did by getting health care treatment.
Okay, what about Afghanistan? What about Afghanistan? Did you guys forget that the statute of limitations is over for 4 years?
In 4 years,
there you go.
After one mistake followed by another mistake, Joe Biden never fired anyone, not Merrick Garland for being such a terrible lawyer, not Alejandro Mayorkas for being such a terrible person, not Antony Blinken for being perhaps the worst American diplomat in history. If his job was to start wars and then keep them going, mission accomplished, Antony. Not Mayor Pete for East Palestine, Ohio, or the supply chain crisis, or the baby formula crisis. Not Kamala Harris for doing nothing.
The baby formula crisis was crazy. Like my sons were allergic to milk formula, right? So we needed this special one. And out of nowhere, it's nowhere on the shelves, right? I have twin boys, man. I needed like 4 cans of formula for 2 weeks, or maybe a week and a half. And out of nowhere, I'm limited for like 1 can per week and whatever. And that's only if I'm lucky to find it. And like you can't imagine how hard is it for you to be a parent in this situation, because you know that your kid is not able to digest the milk formula. And like, what can you do? You can't give them anything else. Like, Milk formula, the kid will puke it out. Soy formula, the kid will puke it out. It's only this special one, I think it was called Nutramigen or whatever, and it was just gone off the shelves because someone fucked up. Someone in the US, obviously. That's what he's talking about, right? So just the stress it gave to parents, and I'm pretty sure some of the kids must have not been so lucky. Like, it's crazy.
As borders are,
but again,
letting in millions of illegal aliens.
This girl.
Here is what a real defense secretary looks like, Lloyd. Take a look.
But yeah, he's unqualified because everyone respects him, right? Because he has a good relationship with troops and everything. But yeah, call that unqualified. Yeah, because he's not DEI hiree. Well, what more can you say? Like, Democrats are just losing it, man. US, Canada, everywhere. It's like, is that like some new virus called being liberal and Democrat? That it just affects your thinking? Or I don't know, man.
And this right here is what a real vice president looks like, Kamala. This is what being likable looks like. In fact, Kamala, you got 4 years until you run again. Maybe you should study this video.
Hopefully
right here.
won't,
J.D. Vance wanted to have lunch with his fellow Marines. Take a look. So J.D. Vance, they told us he was weird.
Wait, J.D., he didn't use any accent, right? How can he be a vice president without using multiple accents just to, feel like he's part of the group? I don't know, like, huh? Well, I guess that's why President Trump won, right? Comparing to Kamala Harris. I kind of wonder how she would behave if she would sit in at this table. Like, I don't think she would, even, because she wouldn't. She thought that they don't have any troops outside of the US right now. Anyway, that's completely different topic, but that's probably laugh uncontrollably. Yeah, that's how she was dealing with everything. But she would probably laugh, start with some silly accent, and start complaining about President Trump. That would be her behavior. But anyway, let's not kick the dead horse. So let's just continue.
This is just a normal guy, and look at his hat. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Like J.D. Vance.
He sat down
you have
with
to
fellow
respect
Marines
him.
and had breakfast. That's what being vice president looks like. Learn from that, Kamala. The left are just so completely lost, and everyone thinks all of this is a new thing, but guess what? None of this is a new thing. They've always been lost. It's just all finally being exposed. Did you know that after Pearl Harbor, George Bush Sr. lied about his age and enlisted in the Navy, and at one point was the youngest fighter pilot in the U.S. Navy? The point that I'm making is that men in the old days would lie about their age to fight for this country. But today, because of Democrats, men are lying about their gender so they can beat women in sports. That's what we've become.
No way he
said that. And any call to fire Pete Hegseth or Michael Waltz by Democrats should be answered with laughter, because Democrats are not serious people, and they are definitely not serious leaders.
It feels to me like Democrats are just mooches, just freaking leeches. Like, it looks like in the US and in Canada, like Democrats, liberals, they just ran the country down. It's like they didn't do anything good, and it's just crazy. Like, how is it possible? I don't understand it, and it's so similar, and people don't see it. like Canadians are laughing at Americans when Democrats were in power, and they didn't realize it's pretty much the same here. Like the liberals in Canada and Democrats in the US, they behave exactly the same. They don't work on improving anything. They're just, I don't know, they just ran the country down. It's crazy.